الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Yesterday we talked about the types of fast. We said there's an obligatory fast and there is a fast that is extra. Within the obligatory fast, there's the fast of Ramadan. There's a fast of when you make a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you'll fast on a particular day or general. And there's a fast of penalty. All of these are obligatory fasts that you have to make up. And we talked about optional fasting. And the optional fasting, we have the fast of Dawood alayhi salam, we have the 6 days of Shawwal, the 9 days of Dhul Hijjah, the day of Arafah. We talked about the month of Sha'ban, most of it should be fasted. Monday and Thursday, 13, 14, 15 of every month, and the fast of Muharram. These are all fasts that Rasul would do, and it's recommended for Muslims to do so. We talked about fasts that are prohibited. You can't fast on the day of Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Adha or 3 days after Eid al-Adha, which is known as Ayyam al-Tashriq. Or you can't fast singling out a Friday. You can't fast perpetually until you die every single day. You can't fast the last day of Sha'ban just before Ramadan, 1 day before. You can't fast. A woman can't fast without the permission of her husband, talking about the optional fasting. The fard fast, she has to fast. Today we're going to start talking about the obligation and the obligatory fast of the month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan, the obligation of the month of Ramadan, we're going to start talking about that. And let's talk about the arrival of the month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan starts by looking at the moon, and the fast also breaks, meaning the month of Shawwal starts. The month of Ramadan begins and ends when you look at the moon. Difference of opinion if you calculate or not. Majority opinion says that you have to see it with your eyes. But if someone has a different opinion, it's okay, it's fine. It's another Shari'i opinion. We respect all differences. It's a useless debate unless the scholars are debating it for academic purposes. It's not for us to get involved in, right? When it comes to looking at the moon, whose testimony is accepted? Does it have to be one person, two people, etc., etc.? If one person sees the moon, it's enough for the whole ummah. That's the majority opinion. If one person sees the moon, it's enough for the entire ummah. There is another opinion it's not enough for the ummah, it's opinion for the locality, difference of opinion, but the stronger opinion, in my opinion, is global sighting, which is what we follow in Saskatoon here. Abdullah ibn Umar, this is because Abdullah ibn Umar radhiallahu anhu came to Rasul sallallahu one time and he said, I saw the moon. Rasul sallallahu announced to everyone, he saw the moon, let's break the fast. Another time, a Bedouin came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, A'rabi. We don't know about him that much. We don't even know his name. That's how unknown he was. He came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and he said, Rasulullah asked him, did you see the moon? I saw the moon. Then Rasulullah sallallahu asked him, are you Muslim? La ilaha illallah, you believe in it? Yes. Muhammad Rasulullah, you believe in it? Yes. Khalas. Ramadan starts. Have you ordered everyone to start a fast? So, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as you can see, began the month of Ramadan by the testimony of one person. And also, Ramadan ends by the testimony of one person. That's the month of Ramadan. When it comes to who the fasting is obligatory upon, the fasting is fard upon a Muslim, not a non-Muslim, who is sane, who is baligh, who is not traveling, who is not elderly in age where he can't fast anymore, maybe 75, 80, 70, whatever. They can't fast anymore because they're too old. Or they're not chronically ill, meaning there's no cure for it. They have an illness, there's a cure for it, they're excused from fasting, but they have to make it up afterwards. But if they're chronically ill, they're excused. They don't have to fast at all. They don't have to make up for it either. They're excused from the fast. And for a woman who's not menstruating, or a woman who's not pregnant or not breastfeeding. For these people, fasting is obligatory upon them, fard upon them. Make sense? I'll repeat it one more time. For the woman, I already mentioned, there's 3 things: not menstruating, not pregnant, not breastfeeding. For the man, he's not traveling, not elderly. Bismillah. Etc. etc. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said regards to the person who is not in his full potential, who doesn't have a full cognitive function, i.e. insane. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the pen has been lifted from these three. The one who's not an adult, the one who doesn't have a cognitive function that's at the level of an adult, and the one who forgets. In another hadith, the one who sleeps. Inshallah. Now, with regards to fasting, intention is obviously very important. There's two pillars to fasting. You have to have these two. First is intention. You have to have intention when you fast. And second is you don't do anything that breaks your fast. Inshallah, we'll go over those tomorrow. Today we'll go over intention. Intention to fast has to happen before, for an obligatory fast. For a fast that is fard, it has to happen on the night before. For a fast that is not fard, it can happen any time during the day. So let's say, for example, the fast of Monday and Thursday. You started the day off Monday, you're not really intending to fast, but you haven't eaten nothing. It's dhuhr time, it's asr time. An opinion also exists that, the fasting, you can make an intention up till zawal. After zawal, you can't make an intention, but the stronger opinion, in my opinion, is you can fast any time you can make an intention any time during the day when it comes to optional fasting. This is because there's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he came home one time and he asked Aisha radhiallahu anha, is there anything to eat at home? And she said no. Then he said, then I am fasting. He didn't have an intention to fast before, but he made the intention to fast much later during the day. So, if you haven't eaten all day and it's close to sunset time, there's only 1 hour remaining, you can really make an intention to fast and get the ajr for that day. And you can fast and you can break your fast in Maghrib. Bidnillahi ta'ala, that's for a nafil fast or an optional fast. But for an obligatory fast, you have to make the intention before suhoor, before fajr. Now, with regards to Ramadan, do you have to make an intention verbally every single night? Various differences of opinion. You don't have to make an intention on your tongue. Intention is an act of the heart. You make an intention in your heart. And you can make it, ideally, every night you should make it. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that for those who don't make an intention, for them there is no fast. Make sense? Now the question is, do you have to make an intention for every single day of the month of Ramadan, or you can make an intention for 30 consecutive days? Does that make sense? The answer is you can make an intention for 30 consecutive days. You don't have to make it every single night when it comes to intention. When it comes to suhoor, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said suhoor contains barakah. And one should try to not miss suhoor. You should try to do suhoor, even if it's just a little bit, for the sake of barakah. Bidnillahi ta'ala azza wa jal. Any questions so far? Now when it comes to who the fasting is obligatory upon, when a person is traveling, it's recommended for him not to fast. That he's excused if he doesn't fast. But he doesn't have to fast. Makes sense? He's completely excused. Now there's a problem here. What happens sometimes, some people think that, okay, if we are traveling and then if we fast, it's better although we are excused. That's not the case, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the udhr. Allah gave you the excuse to not fast. Some ulama, for example, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, he said that it's better not to fast when you're traveling, because you're sticking to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not the other way around. Because Allah told you, gave you the excuse, you're respecting the excuse. Make sense? But in all cases, if you fast, fine. If you don't fast, fine. If you're traveling, it's fine. When it comes to what's better, it depends on your situation. One time Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was traveling with the Sahaba in an expedition, and one Sahabi was under the shade and a few Sahabi were like giving him, fanning him, and people were kind of taking care of him. And when Rasulullah asked about this spectacle, what is happening? And the people mentioned, he's fasting. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, It's not piety to fast when you're traveling. Why did he mention that? What he meant to say is, if you're fasting and it's gonna make you weaker, and it's gonna reduce your day-to-day activities and room for shaitan to come in, you shouldn't have fasted, and you're giving problems to 10 other people, that's not pious of you. You should take the udhr and not fast when you're traveling. Does that make sense? So when you're traveling, or if you're sick even, you should not fast. It's better to not fast. But if you feel, it's a subjective thing, if you feel like you can really do it, you can really do it, and you're not bothering anyone, you're not asking 10 people to serve you and making a spectacle, etc., it's fine. You could do that also. But if you feel in the middle of the day, for example, you have to break the fast because you started the day, you're sick, you don't feel good, you started the day by fasting, in the middle of the day, you're like, yeah, I can't do it anymore. Same thing with pregnant women, for example. They started the fast, or breastfeeding women, or elderly people, whoever. You start the fast, you have a valid udhr, you don't have to fast. But you just want to fast, for example, you start the day, but in the middle of the day you feel like you can't do it anymore. It's okay to break your fast, but you have to make it up afterwards. Make sense? But here's the thing. For those people who Sharia excuses by default, those who are traveling, those who are elderly, those who are chronically ill, these people, they don't want, if they break a fast, let's say they start the day and they don't feel like it anymore, or they don't even fast from the get-go, what they have to do is they have to feed one person on their behalf. One person per fast. But for a person who does not have a udhr, he doesn't have a default excuse, okay? But like a pregnant woman, for example, by default she's not excused, but if she feels like she can't, then she's excused. But let's say she starts the day and she feels like in the middle of the day either it's bad for the child, it's bad for me, then she'll break the fast and she also has to feed one person. Also, if a person is fasting during the year, a person, he didn't fast during the month of Ramadan because Sharia allows him to, and he has to feed people. This kafara, we'll talk more detail about kafara tomorrow, a little bit, not too much because we don't have time to go into all the details of fiqh. I'll give you surface level, and then we'll talk about the nullifiers of the fast, what breaks your fast. A person is required to pay the kafara before the next Ramadan. Make sense? Just like salah, if you miss your salah, the stronger opinion is you should do qada of that salah before the next salah. Make sense? If you miss dhuhr, you should pray the qada before the next salah. You can't pray the next salah until you pray. This is the stronger opinion that I follow. Make sense? Same thing with the fast. You should make up the fast before the next Ramadan. And the thing is, what if you pass away before you made up your fasts? No one can fast on behalf of you, but people can feed other people on behalf of you, and that is not a majority opinion. Majority opinion is he passed away, but Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal says that you can pay on the person's behalf, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We have 1 minute for iftar. I'm sure you have questions. Email me at imam@dawahcenter.ca because I struggle every day to leave some time for Q&A. So if you just give me Q&As, I will start the day tomorrow answering those Q&A. Then I'll go into the fiqh session, inshallah. Imam@dawahcenter.ca.